Hello, I'm Jaxriley, and this is the third video of my series on how I come up with the parts of my songs. So this series is meant to educate you not just on how I did my parts of my songs, but also how you could do parts on your own songs. So now I'm finally getting into the instruments of the songs. So normally what I do in a song is after I've had the chords are written, and which is the second video, and the lyrics are written the first video, and I have the song structure. Either what I'll do is I have a computer drum program, and then I'll make a drum track that I will play the acoustic guitar to, and that's how I make my original demo of the song. Or I will just have a metronome and play a drum track out of this drum kit right here, this electric drum kit I have, and then I'll record everything else on top of that. But my drums are very simple, and I'm not necessarily a drummer, but I do know enough to play to my own songs, and I feel like I could teach you a little bit along the way, along with talking about how I came up with my parts. So on the drums, you have the hi-hat, this little one right over here that you see people always have. In real life, it's two cymbals on top of each other, and that's because you can pull it off like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, its primary purpose is to hold down the rhythm. So this is the snare. So you probably these two things are what you primarily need to know about drumming. It's most what you use, and you have other cymbals and toms, and you can't see it, but what a kick drum is on this electric kit. But you know, in real life, it's the big drum. If you don't know much about drums. Don't worry, I don't really know too much either. But when it comes to drumming, one of the most important thing is obviously keeping the rhythm, but then knowing what the rhythm is. So it's not just how fast it is or how slow it is, but this stuff called the time signature. Now, what that means is, well, I'll have to demonstrate it to you. It's better to do that instead of explaining. But what it means is that, 9 times out of 10, the main time signature that you're going to hear is something called 4/4, which is common time because it's what you hear 9 times out of 10 in any given song. Now, what that means is that there's basically just 4 beats in a measure. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and see, there's a measure. Now, where the snare comes in, and a lot of times mentally, how you know that a song is in 4/4, a lot of times because the snare comes in on the 3rd beat. Now, here's what that sounds like. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much the rhythmic foundation of most songs, and including this one that I'm going to use as an example, the song that I just came out with called Ain't That Something, which you can find in the description, my YouTube channel, of this YouTube video, pretty much anywhere you can find Jaxriley music, you can find the song I just came out with called Ain't That Something, and go listen to it if you have not. So there's other types of time signatures as well, things like 3/4, which is the same thing, except instead of 4 beats, it's 3 beats. So is also referred to as a waltz beat because it's 3/4 time. And another very important one in country music, and one that I've used in my songs, is when you have a faster beat song, and this is really only used in speedy country music or sometimes really fast punk rock music. It's called cut time. So it's 2/2 time instead of 4/4 time. It's just cut it in half, and this is what that sounds like. So it's also referred to as two-step. You hear like two-step music was really popular in the 90s, and people, dancing. This is where that comes from. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So lost my drumsticks, but 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You get the gist. And you also got weird stuff like 6/8 time, which is kind of like. You know what I'm saying? You can kind of hear the difference in what I'm talking about. But for this song that I'm going to use an example, Ain't That Something, is in 4/4 time. So the beat is a little speedier than when I was playing before, and this is what it sounds like. So let's hear it in practice. So here's the song, the very beginning of the song. So you can hear that 4/4 groove there. It's, you know, then, and you have the kick on the alternating bits of the snare. So you have, see? So what I just did there is, now primarily what toms are used for, not all the time, but most of the time toms are really used for fills. That's why some drum sets you see like 10 or 15 of them, and sometimes somebody just has one of these type of drums, or what's called just a floor tom. And so these are rack toms 1 and 2, and then a floor tom is what that's called. And this is a crash cymbal, just in case I'll get to that later. There is one of those in this song. But when it comes to toms, a lot of times it's just used for fills. And what I mean by fills is, here in this song, in the intro part, you have the main groove, which is, that's where your rhythm's coming from. So at the end of the measure, at the end of the phrase, every once in a while, to spice things up, you may want to do a little bit of a fill, which is what I do here. So the fill at the end of the first measure, the first part of the intro is, you know what I'm saying? And then at the end of the intro part, going into the first verse, when things are quieting down, we go. There you go. Now let's show what the verse sounds like here.
Hello, it's great to see you. Yeah, it's been quite a tell me about what you've been up to.
Okay, so here we have a noticeable difference in volume in the song. So we're going from the intro part, and the verse is significantly quieter. Now in drumming, a lot of times in country music, but really any genre of music does this, where instead of, you know, if you heard a difference, see, we're going like this, and then now we're going. And what I'm doing different is, instead of hitting the snare full on like this, I'm hitting just the edge of it. So you bend your hand like this, you see you're regular like this, then you're down here. And see, that's just a natural way to make things quiet down, and especially in this part. I'm sorry my chair is so dang noisy. It's probably the only thing people can hear. But there you go. But it's just a natural way to make things quieter. And you notice in the main intro, I'm hitting this. So now you also take away the kick drum as well, so that takes away volume. So then that's the only thing you hear in that verse part. So now we have that verse, and it's pretty much the same drum groove, because all you're doing is snare and then these rim clicks. And then we go to the pre-chorus. So here's what I do for that pre-chorus line. So you may not be able to hear it in this recording because it's just coming out straight out of a computer and not in headphones. But what's happening here is I'm still keeping the rim clicks going right here, you know. You tell me what I want to tell you about what where it could have been. See, you're still keeping that, but what you're doing is I'm adding the kick drum back. So see, it's just a little bit, I need a little bit more volume in the pre-chorus because there's more volume in what I'm singing. Trying to rise more emotion, the singing is higher in pitch, and it's raising into the chorus. So, just trying to add a little bit there. Now, when we get into the chorus, I go straight back into what I was playing in the intro. It goes right back into goes right back into everything full force there. So let's listen to that.
Ain't that something? You got 2 kids and a dog and a beautiful home. Ain't that something? You met the love of your life and I see you are. Ain't that something? And even though it's not with me, I'm glad to see you living out your dream.
So you pretty much have the same exact beat. Sorry, I'm a little sick. Pretty much the same exact beat in this entire intro as you had before. So the only difference is there's a little bit of a different feel. It's the first time you hear the crash cymbal in this song. So here you have ain't that something? You got 2 kids and a dog and a beautiful home. Ain't that something? You met the love of your life and I see why. So this is basically that exact same feel from before, except we're adding the crash cymbal on the first beat of the measure that comes after that. So, you know, before we were going, and then the next, whenever I come back here, is when I start the next measure. But what's different about this is we're going. See, so this crash cymbal is actually the first beat of that measure that comes after. So it's, you know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much the only difference there. In the second chorus and the second verse and the second chorus are done the exact same way. You know, the intro from the beginning is basically the exact same that separates the end of the second chorus or into the first chorus going into the second verse. It has that same intermittent part, and then I go, and then it goes back into, you know what I'm saying? Now, let me find it, because I'm just checking through here. Okay, so what's about to happen here is this is the end of the second chorus. Now, listen to what I do going into the piano solo. We're trying to build as much volume as excitement, swelling from the end of the, you know, exciting part of the end of the chorus into this piano solo that comes after it. Oh wait. So that was the end of the second pre-chorus, and I messed up. Okay, now here we come. Okay, so this is the end of the second chorus. We're about to go into the piano solo. So hear what I do here. So, hear what I did there. Yeah, I started too early, but it was going into the piano solo. So at the end of the second chorus, I do this feel that I was actually pretty proud of. So it's, here we are with grooving. So a lot going on there, but this is the piano solo, and we go right into that spot. And this feel is something that's probably not really that necessary. What's really, to me, is bringing the most excitement in the part is the sudden crash cymbal. So every time I go, you know what I'm saying? But that feel is something that's just going to have to come to your mind. You know, if you start taking up the drums, you know, the thing you have to learn mostly is the groove, you know. But the thing that you will come to your head just like, you know, playing notes on the piano that I picked out of my mind is the that type of thing. And then the same thing with all the other fills I do when I go. And then all that type of stuff is just, it's the equivalent of playing by ear, kind of. And it's probably, it's actually probably something that's really not that hard for most drummers to do, but it's normally what I struggle with. So, and then the rest of the song would go into a bridge period, and all I do is hold down the same groove with the snare, everything full on. And then we go back into the chorus, and in the chorus, and in the song. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Not a very complicated drum part, and really no drum part needs to be that complicated with the type of music I make. Or if you're looking to play my type of music, country music, you know, I've heard complicated stuff, but it definitely doesn't have to be. You know, if you're holding down the groove, the drums are not necessarily going to be the main focus of a good country song, you know. So there's my video. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you.